The romance of old certain clothes. Oh, hello, my name is James and welcome to Mirror Domains, and this is a reaction and review for The Haunting of Bly Manor, Episode 8, The Romance of Old Certain Clothes. That's what I said, right? Yeah, weird title. And the poster doesn't reflect that because it doesn't have the title on there. But we're going to use that poster as limited as I can, and hopefully we'll just be able to get some pictures in on this. So what's this episode about? Well, we just saw that, Danny was being dragged away by the lake ghost. So I'm assuming that's where we're going to pick up. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a backstory with her, and we'll just try to figure out what's going on. I just can't believe that there's 2 episodes. It seems like this would be the climax, right? Well, let's just get into it. You guys know how this works. Obviously, I can't show you the entire video here because of copyright issues. You know how it works. It's a bummer, I know, but this is all part of a playlist, so you'll be able to follow it listed in the description, comments, and in the cards above. So with that being said, let's just get into it right away. Episode 8, Bly Manor. So, this is indeed a backstory for the Lady of the Lake. Viola is her name, I believe. And it's a bit of a... well, it's in black and white, so any of the pictures here that I'm going to show you guys, I'm sorry that it's darkened. I'll try to brighten them up as I best I can. But it was a fairly darkly lit episode. They were going for some style there, I guess. And it started off with the 2 sisters, Viola and Perdita, right? So I like that interaction. And it showed that they were there at the manor and they're kind of morose. Their father died, leaving them the manor there. And then Arthur comes in, and you see him with Perdita first. And you're like, oh, okay, well, that's where this is going. And then, of course, Viola's the older sister that's more beautiful. I don't know about that. They're both beautiful, but I mean, come on. Anyway, you know how that goes. Eventually, Viola and Arthur get married, and Perdita is kind of like looking at her, at Arthur, is like, yeah, you know what's going on in the background there. But it was interesting at the wedding there, though, when... Viola was not going to say one of the vows. I found that interesting. So she's got this rebelliousness in her from, obviously a very young age. And then it goes on to explain stuff about how she likes to go walking at night. She gets up in the middle of the night and does a whole bunch of weird stuff. We see that she's maybe on to Perdita and Arthur, and then she starts to cough. What is it? I must have missed it. Is it TB? Is that what it is? They bring in this plague doctor. Most people will find that odd and creepy, but because I'm somewhat educated in these manners, I am familiar with those old plague doctor masks, so I knew that the long snout was supposed to be to keep air from circulating too much. I don't know. It's just weird. I like the aesthetic of it. And they showed us doing weird stuff. We did weird stuff back then. We put bleaches on our bodies and bloodletting and all of that kind of smudging stuff. It was very weird, man. And I think that helped kind of develop the atmosphere for this episode. The priest comes in, it's like she's on her last end, right? The priest comes in, tries to do her last rites, and she's not having it. She doesn't like it at all. I guess their daughter, Viola's daughter with Arthur, wants to learn how to dance, so Perdita shows her how to dance with Arthur, and Viola sees that, and she doesn't like it. And a lot of hitting in this episode, a lot of hitting. I was really surprised to see that, but between the 2 sisters, obviously. And Perdita's still trying to take care of her. And then where I ended off here was just, I guess she killed them. She killed her, right? She's they're both sitting on the bed, and then you just kind of see that hand going there, and you're like, oh, is that where this is going? Okay, so that's very dark and sinister. How's this going to play out now? Obviously, she's going to be a ghost, and she's going to come back and try to exact some kind of a revenge. And that's how the Lady of the Lake gets created? Yes? No? Let's just continue on and find out. Wow. So, that's how it happened. There was a lot of rhyming there at the end, eh, guys? I kind of, well, how do I think about this episode? Do I like it? This episode was kind of like a sidestep once again. We ended with her being dragged off, with Danny being dragged off by the Lady of the Lake at the end of the last episode. So that's where we end up with the end of this episode, but we kind of get more of a glimpse into where this Lady of the Lake came from. Yeah. Okay, so let's just rewind here a little bit. We had saw that Perdita killed her, and then she wakes up in this kind of alternate reality, like a dream, and she's locked in her room. Perdita and Arthur have gone on their relationship. They got married, and Perdita is kind of like, I don't know how she feels about it. We see her walking around, and it's kind of like, whatever. She's freaked out. I guess the estate is going down the tubes, and Viola has put a bunch of her clothes and stuff, valuables, into that chest that we see in the poster. So, okay, we know where that comes from. That makes sense now. And the title kind of makes sense, right? The romance of certain old clothes. So that's what that refers to. And of course, Arthur had made the promise to Viola that it was for the daughter, and he's not going to open it for that cause. Of course, Perdita goes and gets the keys anyway, and you know how this is going to go. It's kind of shocking, scary though, when she's looking at the clothes, and then all of a sudden the hands come through, and you're kind of like, woo, wow, huh? Arthur comes in looking for her and sees how mangled she is, and then it was weird, really weird. And the pacing then switches back to Viola in her box, and we go through some of this process of hers of waking and sleeping and walking. She does this when she's dead, and she was doing it before when she was alive. It's just a lot more creepy now that obviously that she is dead, and she's locked in that box. That's what they're saying. So she's in the box. She's waiting for her daughter to open it once she becomes of age, but as we learn, it was Perdita that opened it, and then we get to see from Viola's perspective that she's there strangling her. And of course, what are you going to do, right? Yeah, Arthur comes in and sees that his wife is dead. He takes the chest, and they throw it into the lake. And that's how, at the bottom of the lake, she's like down there now. That's where the Lady of the Lake comes. And then the episode just kind of continues that narrative again of her waking and walking out of the water and stuff like that. Some very haunting imagery, though, of her underwater, just kind of like lying there. Those shots must have been hard to get. I like how it kind of went on to explain how this had gone on for a long time, so she forgot about her name and stuff like that, and her face started to slowly disappear because she would forget about, those kinds of details. And that stuff was very well done. It was very clever. Let me know what you thought about that stuff in the comments below. And then there was that. It started to tie into the story that we know with Peter. She comes out one time, and then we see that Peter's there, and he gets dragged off, and we see that. So it's starting to all tie in, and then she comes out at the end with her face totally like gone except for her mouth, and drags off Danny, and that's the episode. So I'm not too sure, like, if that's the final. That obviously it's not the final one, but it's kind of like, was it necessary for one whole episode for the backstory on the Lady of the Lake? It's one of those things where you're just kind of like, okay, Danny's being dragged off. I really want to know what's happening. And we kind of took a sidestep here for this episode. And I don't know if people will like that. I'm not too sure if I liked it, but I kind of appreciated for what they were trying to do. We'll still have to see how this all fits together after episode 9. And yeah, I just can't wait to get to episode 9. That's pretty much all I really want to do. So, The Haunting of Bly Manor, The Romance of Old Certain Clothes, episode 8. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and let's continue on with more Bly Manor.